Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. XRP price looked like it was starting to break out this morning, and that lasted about 15 minutes, and it's basically just moved down a little bit sideways since then. And this is why so many chart analysts say, never trust a Sunday pump. Here we are. But the good news is, if the analysts that I follow are correct, and they got pretty good track records, we're not going to have to be waiting around here much longer. This thing really is going to go, and there are a lot of very positive indicators out there, which I'm going to be showing you in this very latest Moon Lambo hot jam. I got perspective from a ton of different XRP chart analysts. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 4:24 p.m. Central Time, Sunday, September 7th, 2025. XRP $2.87, but you can see right here from about 9 a.m. until about 15 minutes later. I mean, price of XRP, it did jump. It went from what, 284 to $2.92 inside 10 to 15 minutes there. It was fun for 10 to 15 minutes. It just fell apart. Well, you always hope it'll keep going, but again, it's Sunday. I remember watching that this morning. I was like, I'm just going to check back a little bit later. And so here we are. 24-hour low, $2.80. Here you got Bitcoin at 111,320 bucks. So it's close to its 24-hour high and a 24-hour low of $110,245. I think Credible Crypto chart analyst here summed it up pretty well. He shared this post just a few hours ago, 1:37 p.m. Central. And he said, the market has been in a pretty tight/choppy range the last few days, and while it's tempting to try and jump in and out of positions here, most are better off just sitting on their hands and waiting for a bit more volatility. Weekend almost over. Enjoy your Sunday and come back tomorrow. Smiley face. Yeah, sage wisdom. Well, I mean, I always say something like that. Now, he may have had trading in mind because he is a hodler, but he'll also trade. I'm purely a hodler. I am never going to do any trading in my entire life. I think that's stupid for just about 100% of humans. There's a small percentage of humans on the planet that are good at it, like Credible Crypto. I'm always impressed by that quite genuinely. But I do understand that there's plenty of data to support this. People will absolutely, on the whole, be better off if they don't do it, if they just hodl. It's the same with the stock market. Just buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, call it a day. You're fine. Check back in a few decades and you've got a few $1 million. You're rich. Like, even if you're of modest means. That's what happens with compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, my friends. But you can get that on steroids in the world of crypto. I mean, having been here for 8 years, I kid you not. I mean, and this is pretty common for me that's been here this long. I mean, the amount of wealth that I've generated in a little less than 8 years now, it would have taken me closer to like 45 years. And I've done it in crypto in little less than 8. And that's what you can, so it's just, you do have to wait a bit, but my God, talk about speeding up the timeline here. It's completely absurd. And XRP is a huge part of that story for me. I mean, XRP is probably about, actually I haven't checked in a little bit, but it probably still is about half of my entire crypto portfolio because it's just rocketed. I was right about XRP and so were you guys. It always made sense. But anyway, yes, we're only going to be in this consolidation for a little bit longer. We're not going to stay here forever, obviously. And there's this post from Chart Analyst Crypto Wizard. I think this pretty well highlights exactly why. He simply wrote, and this is a Bitcoin price chart, he says, been here before. Nothing new here. Bitcoin has corrected 11 times this entire bull cycle. Each time has resulted in a new all-time high. Is this time different? Weather the storm. Exactly. And so this chart's going back to the beginning of 2023. What we're going through right now, it's normal corrections. And yes, you do finally get to a peak at some point. But I'm telling you, this is not the sentiment that you've ever seen at the peak of any the peak of any market cycle in crypto. It just never happened like this. I don't think this time's any different. I think that makes pretty much no damn sense. And we've also never had a market cycle conclude without having a full-blown alt season. So maybe before you start getting worried, get to the point where it makes logical sense to be worried that something could be over because we ain't there yet, son. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. This is another piece of the story. This is a Bitcoin dominance chart going down, which is what you should expect. And look at the MACD down here, which is a momentum indicator. It's shifting red. This is exactly what you'd want and expect at this point in the market cycle. Bitcoin dominance goes down, even if price continues to trend upward, which I suspect that it will. I don't think Bitcoin's likely to have peaked at this point. And then what happens next? Alt season. Bitcoin dominance goes down, and then dominance for alts goes up. And that is what we're seeing here, actually. I mean, take a look at this, actually. Or maybe actually the next one I'm even more excited about. Let me share. So this is a total 2 chart. This is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. He was just kind of noting how things are, history kind of rhymes with itself. And so he wrote here, one of the greatest charts out there. Total 2 shows the way. Aren't the similarities to previous cycles breathtaking? Higher soon. So you can see what he's highlighting here. There's a double bottom plus higher lows in 2015 and then 2018 and then 2022. And what follows that? Well, reaccumulation. It's just history really does keep rhyming with itself. And so you can see, given that's the case, the best part is yet ahead. There are so many indicators that is the case. Here's another. So this is total 2 denominated in Bitcoin. So it's a total 2 BTC chart. And this one's cool. Look at that change in direction. Look at that. Do you see this? It's picking up. And this is what Altcoin Gordon is talking about here. Shared this with his 803,000 followers on X. I simply wrote, altcoins have entered the uptrend for the first time in 3 years. And you're listening to perma-bears calling for a bear market? Some people are born just to buy the top. Yes, some people actually are born to just buy the top. Rather unfortunate for them, but for us, pretty damn good here. I mean, look at that. It obviously shifts. So this is what you would want and expect at this time. The momentum absolutely has shifted here. 100% has shifted. And so what follows? I mean, the entire asset class moves in tandem, which means XRP is going to respond too. Here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez. XRP here, and he says, XRP consolidates in a triangle ahead of a 25% price move. Okay, so as Total 2 is picking up steam against Bitcoin, you can see how XRP is so perfectly positioned to be moving out sideways here. A little bit further sideways before finally breaking out here. And this is what I keep seeing from tons of analysts here. Here's another post. This is from chart analyst Zoom, XRP USD chart here. He says, XRP and the whole market will not keep moving sideways. XRP's triangle seems to be closing into itself in the next 7 to 8 days. No, I'm not saying moon in 7 days. I'm showing what the chart shows us. Usually, we see a break to either side before it closes into itself. That's right. So before you hit the apex, you will typically see a breakout. And this thing's been heading this direction ever since XRP hit its newest all-time high in July of this year. And you cannot, as I always say, you cannot flutter about and move sideways forever. You can be in a range for some time period, and it makes people impatient and irritated and all that jazz. But it doesn't last forever. It just doesn't. And this one won't either. Here's a post from Crypto Insight UK, and this is from this morning after XRP had started to move 9:53 a.m. Central. So XRP chart, you can see it's kind of moving up here, and he simply wrote XRP, just kind of watching what's happening here. And he's one of many analysts that has been thinking something could happen sooner than later. In fact, I'm just going to read this small portion of his latest newsletter, just this little section about XRP here. And he says, I want to briefly touch on XRP. XRP has been leading the way this cycle, and in my view, it is about to begin its next major leg higher. So I'll leave you with this thought. We've been discussing the potential for XRP to have already started wave 3 of 3, and that it may be leading Ethereum and other altcoins. If you overlay the Ethereum chart on top of XRP's, the difference is striking. Ethereum hit all-time highs, then suffered a significant pullback, even losing its previous lows. XRP did not. Instead, it held strong around all-time highs. In the last few weeks, XRP has pushed above both its previous all-time high and the 270 swing high, and is now consolidating above them. Meanwhile, Ethereum is still struggling to reclaim and hold its all-time high. This relative strength is important. It suggests that XRP's trend is stronger and more sustainable, and that it could continue to outperform the largest altcoin in the market. Yeah, now we'll pause to note here, XRP is hovering close to $3 before the mania begins this market cycle. That is insane to me. That's because look, think about it. The higher the starting point before the most money flows in and starts rotating through the space, the higher that starting point, the higher the level you can expect to hit this market cycle. So I understand why the analysts that are calling for XRP to $20 to $30 believe that that is absolutely plausible. I mean, even just to get to $10, you're talking about a little over a threefold increase from here. That's not exactly a big ask in crypto, especially given that we haven't entered the true mania part of the cycle yet. And then he says, add to this the potential catalysts ahead. such as the long-rumored XRP ETF, possibly coming in September or October, and the chance of supportive action from the current administration, and the setup becomes even more compelling. If Total 2 breaks, which is what I was highlighting just a couple minutes ago, says if Total 2 breaks out, and if Bitcoin pushes into new all-time highs, I believe XRP will be one of the leaders in the next leg of this market cycle. Spot on. And again, here's Total 2 priced against Bitcoin. Look at that. Look at it. It's moving. I mean, it's doing. We'll see if this is sustained. Like, I don't pretend to know for sure, but it's doing something, isn't it? Like, obviously, it's right there, buddy. Here's a post from chart analyst Chart Nerd, and he says XRP retraced 1 cent shy, $2.68, of our $2.67.382 fib support target and is bouncing. $3 is key resistance to break now. Failing to do so, we revert back to fib support. Macro target remains at $15. And so again, like I was saying a couple minutes ago, all of these analysts that are calling for double-digit price action, I well understand why they're saying that this is plausible. So I don't know what price level is going to get hit. I'm not in the prediction game myself. I don't know. I'll just straight up admit that. But I know that doesn't sound crazy. $15 not remotely crazy. I think it's going to go way higher from here. You know, XRP has continued to be the #1 performing coin out of the top 100 coins by market cap since the election. It could stay that way through the end of this thing. We will find out together. Here's a post from chart analyst Cantonese Cat. He says, XRP Weekly shows that sell volume is getting pretty pathetic on Coinbase, and I don't think big money's selling any XRP here. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. I think if you're talking big money, the smart money, yeah, I think the smartest of money, frankly, they're going to start unloading as XRP rockets in price, not right here, you know? And that's what you see every single time. Like even for the people that were doing interested in shorter term price action, because there's always going to be the trader types out there. It wasn't until XRP ran from about 49 cents until almost $3 in early December last year, where there was some sort of notable offloading from all sorts of XRP holders that have been more so in the short term game. Even if you're talking about that here, I don't think you're going to be seeing that until XRP starts rocketing again. Here's a post from CW. He says, the real rally for XRP will be seen after it breaks above its all-time high. It will begin soon. So he firmly believes that this is still coming, and that's the consistency in terms of expectation I keep seeing from all of the analysts that I follow, even though they all have their own perspective on how high they think XRP is likely to go this cycle. They all agree way higher than here, that's for sure. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender, and he says, XRP on the daily time frame is poised to retest the $3 weekly resistance line. RSI is getting bullish. We identified the $2.85 level as a primary support level, which is currently acting as a resistance. All support levels remain in effect. We are getting there slowly but steadily. So we just got to wait a little bit longer, but again, that optimism is still there for all of the analysts that I follow, and I say for good reason. Look, again, history rhymes with itself. Just got to wait a little bit longer. We're going to see more fireworks. This thing is not over. And that is what's so exciting about this XRP. It's #3 in market cap, $2.87 as I wrap up this video. And that's the point that it's at. Anywhere around here is amazing before starting the craziest part of the run. And I'm telling you, historically, the last pump for XRP, the second pump in the cycle, way, way, way more substantial than the first pump in terms of dollars. So yeah, I expect that we're not going to be disappointed here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.